also laying down to block the shot in a critical one. How galvanizing is that for the bench?
I think the entire building was excited to see that. I'm sure plenty of people that were watching it on TV was, you watch a guy that everybody thinks is offense, and you know, we've been talking a lot this year about how good he's gotten defensively, how his defensive instincts have just grown. And obviously we're talking about Rasmus Dahlin. So his first, I think he blocks a shot with his body laying down, gets up, reads a play back door, has his stick over there before a goal scorer can take his time to put it in the net, and he obviously kills that play, and we go down, and I thought three great plays. Greenway self-chip to push some depth, Cousins quick enough to get in there, and then great vision, and Tomer found a pocket, and it was in the back of the net the other way in no time. So that was a big play all around by lots of guys.
That's a good team, and that's a hard team to beat. What made the difference today for your team to be able to do that?
Well, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, that's a tough team. I just looked up just after the game, and I think it's 32-3 when they're leading after the first period. They're 32-3. So I just felt, and if you look at it and you review it, what I thought is we came out, we worked hard, and I thought they compete as good or better than anybody in the league. They've gone through playoff loss, and you know they're a very unsatisfied team because they've been a top team that hasn't pushed their way. So they've learned to compete very hard, and they do. And one of the best in the league at it. So I thought we worked hard enough to stay with them through the first part. We're up 1-0, but when we gave up that first goal and they tied it, you could see a lull in our game, and they were out competing us for a few minutes there, and we gave up the second goal. So the message at the end of the first was we absolutely have to compete, and the rest of the game is going to be determined on who wants it more. And I thought our guys rose to that challenge very well, and it was nice to see them internalize the fact that we needed to elevate in that area specifically.
Don, in that sense, how much do you think, you know, a lot of people were worried during the slumps that you had. How much do you think those slumps led to this realization to play this way and to have that resolve after falling behind 2-1 in the first?
Yeah, there is. I'm glad you bring that up because there's an absolute correlation to that. It's growth. You can, you know, it's hard to coach teams when you have success. You know, teams sometimes lose the ability to pay attention to details. It's the failures, and it's failures in life for all of us that you turn and you realize, boy, I better shore this up. I better pay attention more here or there, and you know, going through those things, our guys, we had them, and as far as their attention to greater detail, and I think they're learning greater detail. We have a long way to go. Let's face it. You know. You're trying to compete and be the absolute best in one league. There's 32 teams. You've got to keep pushing that initiative. And again, we have a long way to go, but we've been able to come quite a ways this year through that adversity and challenge. And quite honestly, you know, our guys identified that we were failures when that wasn't the case. We just failed. And when we went in those lulls, you feel like a failure, and you got to get comfortable with. Sometimes you're going to fail, and you just got to learn from it and move on competitively. And I think that's the biggest part of what we took our last string of tough nights.
Devin's decision, I mean, some of it's development, I know, and some of it, how much of it is you just feel at this point he's your best chance to win a game?
Yeah, I mean, where we're at now in must-win situation, you know, we've heard various people say must win. We're in a must-win situation. It's obvious. And so it'd be nice to be warm and fuzzy and give a guy a game for developmental reasons. He's in there because he's playing well. And that's good to see because he was another key factor today.
As far as Casey goes, he's been getting a lot of ice and he's been creating a lot. But finishes too today. Were you confident if he kept playing this way that he'd start scoring too?
You guys, you know, I was confident in him from day one. He's another player that has a lot more to his game, and he's growing. He's a young guy these are first experiences for him, first experiences with pressure, and So yes, he was big for us today. Two very nice goals and filling in that spot. And it's also enabled us to, I think, hide Tomer a little bit and against second pairing D out there, and that's you saw the difference there in the game winner.
Don, along with what Paul was asking before, everybody's going to talk about the Dolly play to Middlestat. That changed the whole game in terms of it got you even. And Carolina's was lights out leading after 2 periods. They locked the game down. How different was it? You weren't forced to chase that game going into the 3rd period because you're just not going to do it against them most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, the numbers say you're not going to do it. Most of the time, probably 10% or 5% of the time or less. So it was key to, obviously, it was key for us in those games when you have a young team. You don't sometimes see. Again, we gave up the first goal. I thought we went back on our heels, like with worry and some doubt. You got to get them out of that, and the only way to get them out of that, 2 ways. One, we had to start competing, and 2, you have to paint a picture that this is how they're vulnerable. So we got to get after them and get to the other side of this. And we could pull a couple clips right away. The goal in the first period, Middlestad's goal, there were some easy things to show that this team is vulnerable too. A lot of teams that are ultra aggressive, they're also ultra vulnerable, but you got a guy in your face and you can't actually see that if you get to the other side, it's a wide open or 2-on-1. So for us, we needed that. We needed to elevate our compete, and we needed to get rewarded for that battle and battling through. And I think the guys felt that in the second period, and they weren't distracted by anything else. I think the biggest thing when you play a team that's as aggressive as they are, you can't be distracted by their aggression. And we had to kind of reel ourselves in the middle of that game or after the first period and just deal with it.
It seems like the aggression was answered by your team with physical play. Did that help?
It was. That was the message. Just clear as that. After the first period, we need to be more physical, and now's the time. So.
How about power with Dolly?
That was. We just felt at that point those two had some pretty good magic going, and Yoki and Sammy are not a slouch either when you put those two together. So, we're pretty fortunate to have those 4 very, very interchangeable, and just felt that was the moment. We wanted to push a bit offensively, and we needed some pushback. We needed pushback against them, and that was a way that we thought we could get a little more.
Rasmus was just saying Casey might be the hardest worker on the team. Do you sense that his teammates really respect that about him? I guess the way.
Yeah, I think that comment is Rasmus standing up for his teammates, and I think he would probably say that about a lot of guys. But I think what I take out of that comment personally is Rasmus sees that Mitzi does work, and he works hard, and it's nice to see him getting rewarded for lots of work that he once wasn't quite so rewarded for.
And I'm asking you this because I must have had 25 people ask me, why did the referee not let your goalie have a water bottle?
Yeah, there's a spot on the back of the net for the water bottle, the holder. If it's on the top of the net, it interferes with some of the cameras for replays, and Devin wasn't putting it in the back of the net every time. So that was, I need to get clarification on what may come of that, but that was the gist of it, in essence.
And that didn't come up in any of Devin's previous games, did it?
I don't think no, it did not from the official to me, no.